Okay. All right.
Oh
So
no, and it's recorded.
welcome to the QBC, the Quantum Book Club. And for the month of December and actually November, we decided to do miscellaneous. Like everybody had free range to read whatever, just because we knew through the holidays it would be like we didn't want the pressure. And I had started this in the Sophia Code in I think March's book club. And then I didn't finish it. And so I was like hell bent and determined. I was like, I'm getting this done before the end of the year and before this book club. And I did, and it was worth it. And what's awesome is you've read the same book.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just finished it too. So, and it was how I mean, there's this thing as coincidence, but I mean, just how coincidental. Like, we got the same. We're reading the same one.
Well, and then Cindy was doing the same thing. She was
Oh,
like,
really?
hmm? Yeah.
Oh,
But she,
dang! Too bad she couldn't make it. That'd
I
have been
know.
dope.
Uh-huh.
The whole
I was talking about.
trifecta.
Yeah. But we do have the Marco Polo chat that we can talk about what the book that we're reading. So hold on, let me open this up. I have questions that I usually like to ask to start us out in. All right. So what was your favorite part? Like, what was your favorite key code? Well, before we jump into that, since we read the same book, I kind of want to give people, anybody watching the replay, like a
Synopsis.
synopsis, yeah, of what
Yeah.
this book was even about. The Sophia Code, a living transmission from the Sophia Dragon tribe. So essentially what the author Kaia Ra did was channel messages from different ascended masters and then translate them and put them in this book for us, and then even defined what Sophia was. It's basically the divine feminine, right? We have God and we have Yahweh. That is basically, we have names for the masculine version of God, but there's not a lot of publications or knowledge or etc. that's just been freely given of who the feminine, who the mother essentially is, right? And so this was really cool with that. And some of the people that she channeled was, let's see, we've got Isis or Aset, Hathor, and
Green
so
Tara,
Green Tara,
Mother Mary,
Mary Magdalene, White Buffalo Woman, and the Sophia Dragons. So
and Kuan Yin.
Kuan Yin, yeah. Oh, that was like my favorite. Okay, so out
That
of all
was sad.
I know.
That one was sad. I was just like, "Oh my gosh." He just, like, sat with her that whole time just waiting. I was like,
For
"Oh."
years. For years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually think that might be the one that I'm gonna go with as my favorite key code. So which was your favorite key code?
Ooh, that was a toughie. Like, the last key code was almost
The
between
Sophia
that
Dragons.
one and the Mary Magdalene.
Yep, Mary Magdalene was a very impactful one for me as well, for sure.
Because I had so many, like, just coincidental, like, it just reminded me so much of, like, myself in a sense. Like,
Yeah,
I just really, like, related to it all, and I'm just
I
like
actually
something was
want to
speaking.
say Kuan Yin, I related so deeply. I was,
Oh,
and you know what was really cool is as she was talking about like how he was waiting and all of this, and then he ended up being like her twin flame. That was my epiphany. I was like, oh my gosh, my sweetheart has like journeyed with me for going on 17 years through my own journey of healing from trauma, right? And all of whatever I've gone through. And and then I've landed on this other side in a much more healed and whole place. And I'm like, oh, he's been there waiting as well. And the difference was and is I was wanting him to be an ascended master, but he is human himself and had his own trauma to heal through as I was doing mine. But I was holding him to this like ascended master level. And
mhm.
really, really cool because even when Kuan Yin shared how she had sat with him while he journeyed, I was like, I know I've sat with my sweetheart through his own trauma stuff. So
Yeah.
it was really like, I was like, oh, yep, yep, teared up and everything. I was like, oh.
Yeah, and then the last one was so cool because how it all just came together.
Yeah, yeah. The wrapping up, the closure. See, and I like that one, but my second runner-up was the White Buffalo Woman.
Mm.
Yeah, how she came like, she comes to these 2 men, and the one man with pure heart could see her as the sacred being that she was, and then the one with, basically the wounded heart, and tainted vision saw her as an object to be possessed. And just the lessons and all of that, I was like, "Oh, I'm loving it."
I think the next one runner up for me was the Mother Mary.
Mm, mhm.
And it's just like for myself, like I never had like we had a session the other day and I called it, the angel mother. That
Mhm.
was Mother Mary. That's who that's been that whole time. And
Okay.
I just never had like the name for her
Mm.
until like I'm reading this and then just
Mhm.
realizing and just like it all like finally like really came together. I was like,
My
oh.
heart is like, "Yeah."
Well, so do you remember when you read about Mother Mary, she talks about her wings, her angel wings and stuff like that? Like, even in other sessions, I've done other like, hypnosis sessions, like, I've had this angel mother and the wings and just the comfort and the hug, and it was just like, that's the way it's always been, and even just when our recent session, that la the lady I sat in the lap, that was the same person, that was her, and then, like, in the book, I was like, "Oh, that's her." I was like, "Oh."
Mm.
So,
I
I got
love that connection and consciousness for you that it got activated by reading this book. See, this is why I love not only reading, but, like, I love, integrating, really embodying what I'm reading because, like, you now have this, spiritual, like, link that was missing, and because of this book, which is, like I shared in the Facebook group, like, a quantum tool because you're stepping into a different dimension of reality altogether, especially with this book, right? It's like, whoo, like, and okay, so I will say with this one, for anybody who's like considering reading it, the Sophia Code, I highly recommend reading it in pieces and segments. It's not one of those that you're gonna like read from, yeah, you've got to, I chose to take breaks in between each chapter. And the reason for that is because you're activating these codes inside of you in your consciousness, in your DNA. And with any healing work, you want to have a period of time to like really integrate and
Mhm.
um let it settle before you start to like, it's like when you eat food, if you overeat, you're gonna have a sore stomach. This is kind of like if you overread too much of it at one sitting, you kind of feel overwhelmed, at least in my experience. How about you?
And I think the other thing too is you miss the lessons.
Yeah.
You miss the lessons because what's gonna happen is, like, things are not just gonna come to you just that day when you read it, it's gonna come to you over time. Like, we did our session, and then it was just like, I've already read that part, and then I totally forgot, and then I was going back, I was like, "Oh, this is her." And
Yeah.
that's over time, those things happen, and um, God's winks,
Mm,
coincidences or however somebody wants to label them, those when those things happen and it starts to integrate all together, and you just have to take that time to actually sit
yeah.
in it to make sure that you don't miss it
Yeah.
too.
I call those divine alignments.
Ooh, I
Yeah.
like that one too.
And so, yeah, I was gonna say something else, and now I feel like it just left me. Yep, it's gone.
It'll come back in the
Yeah.
shower.
Um, I was gonna. So the next question was, did you race to the end, or was it more of like a slow burn?
It was a slow burn.
Yeah, but this is one of those slow burns you want it to be a slow burn.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I think it
Holy.
came back, by the way. So that is the thing about doing the book club is that I love specifically about the QVC compared to other virtual book clubs is that we as a group, as a collective club, decide like when we're reading a book, we have the date. So the date for the next book club is like February 14th, 15th. It will be after, right? So we have that, but say we're all reading it and we're like, this is going much slower. I usually intuitively check in and I'm like, do we need a couple extra weeks? Like, we're not glued to have it done in the month. Like, there's freedom to move, but we put the month to kind of like make sure there is the urgency, but there is the flow to be like, this book needs way more like honor. And
Right.
Sophia Code for sure. I plan on reading it again throughout the
Yeah.
year. I'm just like including it through my studies.
Yeah. So, I've been integrating some other things from it in some other things that I do.
Mhm.
So I do my morning meditations and I do soma breathing. So I
Mm,
do breath work. And then so when after I'm holding my breath for a while, and then I'm actually releasing and doing my om.
mm.
So I'm doing om tara tu tara tu
Yeah, that
soha.
one. I loved that one.
So,
Was that
oh, just even saying it. What is
mhm.
that?
Was that Green Tara?
Yes, that's green
I
tara.
loved that. I thank you for bringing that back to my consciousness because I actually think I was really following that as well in my sacred time, in my morning rituals, and then I fell away because it. So
Mm.
thank you for. I'm like, where do I write this down that I like?
Don't worry, I'll mark you on this too.
Okay. Well, I
So
actually
just
want
in
to
case, an
confirm.
extra.
Yes, I found it. Okay, I think it's on page 132.
133.
The mantra, the Sanskrit mantra.
Mhm. I
Um,
actually have it open. So I was like, I already had it open, everything was like
okay, so yeah, it's Om Tat. So did you ever look up what it's actually supposed to sound like?
well, so when I read the book,
Yeah.
I listen to the audio too with it.
Okay, cool.
So because like all these different words, I'm like, "Oh, there's no way in heck I'm gonna get this right." So yeah, no, I listen to the audio and then I have it, I don't know if you can see
Oh,
it.
I have it underlined too.
So not just underlined, I have it at the time period in the audio part of
Oh,
where it's at.
wait, what's the time period? Because I have
At
the
4
oh, it's
hours, so at 4 hours and 56 minutes at times 2. So if you have the Audible version, you have to be at the times 2 listening, and it's at 4 hours and
for sure.
56 minutes. Yeah, and it
Um,
opens up right there at the Untara Tuntara, Tusoha.
yeah, I really, really liked that. Are you remembering what it activates? Oh, okay. It actually says Om, the sound wave that appears at Sophia's heart womb, gives birth to the light. And then Om invokes my presence as a guide through your suffering and as a mentor for your happiness. But so by saying this mantra, we're activating Green Tara's presence in our high consciousness and presence. And this is the other thing. So we all have ascended master we have access to ascended masters and angels and guides and entourage, right? They're there. It's literally a matter of us choosing to acknowledge them and allow them because they cannot we are the ones with the body, which means we're the ones who decides what's who and what is in our space. So they can't just come in and like free will, like you know how people are like, oh, why didn't God do this, or why didn't my angels protect this? And it's like, bro, because they have to have permission for one. And you're the one with the body, which means you're the one who chooses to allow or disallow their frequency and their service to you. And when we do this mantra specifically, it's like activating the permission for
Mhm.
her to come and play with us and support us.
When you say permission, I don't know why this is so funny. It so flashes in my head like vampires. You have to let them into you have to give them permission to let them into your house. Why that came popped into my head, I don't know. That's
Well,
maybe for
okay, I
somebody out
know
there.
why. It's because
Okay.
energetically, with any, again, it goes back to we're the one with the body. There is, whether it is of light or whether it is of dark, nothing can affect us without our
Our
say so.
permission.
Like
Mm.
our vibration and our frequency saying, yes, I'm a match for you. So by doing this mantra, we're saying, yes, I'm a match, and I'm opening up the frequency of receiving you. Now, as far as vampires or any of the dark magic kind of world, same thing applies. It goes both ways. And so yes, that's why that knock and
Mm.
And even in, I don't really quote too many scriptures, but because I'm not well versed in it, but knock and you shall receive, right? It's again, you have to do the initial knocking in order for
Mhm.
you to receive the support from the other side of the veil. So Om Tare, so Tare declares that you are laying down your attachments to suffering, because this is the thing. We humans are so addicted to suffering.
Yep.
We're like hardwired, and on top of it, there's a lot of programming, whether it's from schools or multiple systems that we're plugged into. It's all about the suffering. And so she says, lay down your attachment to suffering in exchange for non-circumstantial happiness, meaning unconditional happiness, and reconciliation with your divinity. So Tare brings you home to your sovereignty, to your divinity. All right, I'll have you 135 if you want to say what the tutare means.
Okay, tutare is a seed sound wave of self-love that liberates your awareness from the 8 great fears by taking refuge in your own divinity. Your soul chooses this suffering to discover the unlimited reign of its free will.
Mm-hmm. What do you get from that?
Well, here I have the other part of this taken. Here's the eight great sufferings.
Okay, where'd you get that from?
It's in here. 36.
Oh, okay, cool. Thanks.
So you go down. It's like the eight great fears. So it's the 8 great fears are ignorance, attachment, hatred, arrogance, jealousy. Ooh, how do you say that word? Mr. Lang, Mr.
Miserliness,
Mis-
miserliness,
Miser. Like a Scrooge.
Yeah,
Doubt and projections.
yeah. Projections, huh? Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
look, so many people project, including myself, have in the past especially, but projected my trauma wounding onto someone so that way I could learn through the lesson and no longer like repeat it, right? But that's still projection. So it's one of the 8 fears. Fascinating. Very cool.
Yeah. So I really liked that one because it's like, okay, like we're really supposed to have like just the self-love here because source is love. It's not these other things. These other things is the fear. The other things is man-made. The other thing is ego.
Yeah. Yes.
And I've been listening a lot to Wayne Dyer and he puts ego as edge God out.
Oh, I'm like, where do I write this? Why don't I have my notebook? Okay, I'm gonna just use
See,
this one.
I've been writing my stuff too. Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh.
Oh yeah. Look how activate. I know this is a very special journal, so I'm just gonna write in the back of it. And that's okay. So what am I writing? Edge got out. I know it's gorgeous.
Whoa, that gave me the people bumps. Wow.
Okay, look at the back though. I know, and she shimmers.
Yeah, that was a
That
yeah.
journal. So ego is to edge God out. I
Yep.
like that a lot. It made it into my special journal.
Ooh, it's special.
It is. I love. Okay, so then on 137, it's like in the last paragraph, she says, "I tell you the truth. There's so much heaven to focus upon within you. Yet humanity, so us people, are addicted to the hellish creations of its own collective mind. In this lifetime, your higher self is guiding you to embody a great happiness that is also for the liberation of all beings." So when I read that, it's like my higher self is leading me to my own salvation of happiness and peace and heaven within me, right? So that way I then can share that, emanate it, spread my love, spread my light to also support other people in liberation. Like even us, just you and me being on this call is doing exactly that
Right.
because we're moving forward into the new earth essentially, which is including all of the liberation for all. Anyway,
And I
yeah.
like the way that was started off because it sounds very like biblical too. Like it's spoken like basically kind of like how Jesus would speak. Jesus like is represented to speak like, I tell you the truth. That's how
Yes.
he says things at times. So it's very interesting. Like this is how the same way it was framed here as well.
Yeah. I like that awareness. Okay, so today is declares your oneness with all beings as the root of your happiness that is sovereign from all attachments to suffering. So I'm going to read it again. Today, Ture, declares your oneness with all beings as the root of your happiness that is sovereign from all attachments, meaning above attachments to suffering. So when I hear that or read that, it brings in, we've got the 12 universal laws. One of the 12 universal laws is the law of oneness, that what I'm experiencing, you are, and what you're experiencing, I am, because we are all but a mirror. And I've been given this visual over and over again of the earth is a womb, right? Like we've all seen those statues, right? But really, and what if earth really was a womb and we just didn't know it? And we were like, yeah. And we were all these little cells, like we're part of this one body. Each person
Mm,
is a cell within the body, right? And then if that's the case, then aren't we, our body that we embody, and all of our cells the exact same thing?
same.
And so it's like having the conversation within and loving each cell and going, hey, how are you doing, kidneys? Because that's its own community, right? And its own
Right.
continent or country. And it's like, my kidneys are like Africa right now or whatever. Like, and
I like that though. I've never thought of it that way. That's kind
like,
of dope.
think
Like,
about it. Blood is
yeah.
ocean because our whole body is filled with the ocean.
What? Yeah. Yeah.
And they say our bodies are what, 80% something percent.
Water.
So therefore our blood is yeah, I know. I've really thought this out. Our bones are the mountains.
Mm.
And so what if we really are that and we just don't know it because we're in it?
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't know what the whole forest looks like if you're in amongst the
The
trees.
forest. Yep.
So yeah, that's kind of where my
Hmm.
mind goes with the law of oneness. And so yeah, that's, and if you look at the evidence, even in our conscious collective of how people think, people are like, oh, let people have their beliefs. It just is whatever it is. And also, yeah, but that's also kind of happy horseshit because one person's belief adds to other people's, and then other people's multiply, and it all proliferates. And all of a
Mhm.
sudden we've got this mass movement of the whole conscious collective. And if not everybody's on board, then it starts to create a dissonance in society or in the body.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I just thinking it was like just we're all just a bunch of cells because I was like because you think about it like oh okay well if one starts thinking it then you can get
Yep.
another and then another then just
Yes.
multiplies like
And
cancer
yes,
like the
and
cancer.
so the neural pathways that we have inside of our body is the internet. I know.
Mm.
I'm like, because that's how you send all the messages. It's really cool when you think of this analogy. Okay, so 138, if you want to do the Soha part.
Soha commands the blueprint of this mantra to activate your DNA and consecrate your sacred heart to live in happiness for the liberation of all beings.
Mm,
Soha plants the seed of my mantra in your heart. Take refuge in its radiance of your own higher self.
mm. So what I'm getting, what are you getting from that before I say what I'm getting?
I felt like that final part is just basically this for me, it was just like tying it all up in the bow.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
It's like it yeah, like you went through this like spiritual journey with this mantra, you
Mm,
know? It's
yeah.
just like, all right, you've got your suffering. We're recognizing that, we're knowing that you don't need to hold on to all this. Just, start having the love and everything is one and all, this is I was talking with somebody about this today. It's just like it just everything's just an experience.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
we'll look at it as good or bad in the sense, and but who's to say if it's good or if it's bad?
Exactly. Yeah. Yep.
And the other part of things too is like when people are like, "Oh, I don't know if I should do this. Oh, this might be terrible." Well, why think it's terrible if you don't even know what it's going to be like? Why set yourself up like that? Set yourself up that it's going to be exciting and adventurous. Why do you want to go down the dark side of it and you don't even know 100% yet?
Right? It's so that I'm also reading Psycho-Cybernetics, which I highly recommend. I'm actually considering it for the second quarter of the book club because it is phenomenal.
I've
Uh,
read it.
yeah, okay, so you like
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But about it, he talks about using worry, our imagination to create an outcome we don't really want. Like
Mhm.
that's what worry is, using our imagination to create weird shit.
Yeah, and then you attract it, like, you think about it, it's the whole law of attraction, either if you want it, you'll get it, if you don't want it, you'll get it because you're putting attention to it. Where attention goes, the energy flows.
Exactly. Yeah. And so is Soha, I like the way you said it's like the bow, because at the last chapter, Kaia Ra says, Soha illuminates the pathway of divine power within you. And then it goes a few sentences below. You create space in your heart and mind to be guided by the power of your holy innocence, which is a divine quality of your higher self. And I'll read the next part where it says, your innocence is the guide and guardian. And innocence can be quite a trigger word for people because there's a perception or a belief system, especially in the trauma community, that innocence was taken, right?
Right.
Or stolen, etc. And the reality is, innocence actually is never taken. It is preserved and protected if a violation occurs, right? And so innocence is always there.
Right.
It's just a matter of, as you journey through your healing, unlocking it with different keys and codes to be like, whoa, I am but a child in an adult body, and I am playful and fun and creative and passionate. And the innocence of your heart is a precious jewel that shines as your greatest gift to the world. Like, boom. So the more that we heal our hearts, the more that we're going to be able to share our jewel with the world, and therefore the world benefits. So
And you have a lot more fun.
a lot more.
A lot more fun because,
Yep.
like, you just don't honestly, I mean, I feel like I don't take stuff as serious anymore.
Yeah.
You know, when you have that I mean, you've hung out with me,
Mm.
you know how I am, like, I just have, like, this kinda, like,
Yeah.
childlike innocence part of me, like, you see, I'll go swing on a swing, I'll go play, it's just like, it is what it is, like,
Yeah.
if
I
there's
love that about
snow,
you.
I'm making snow angels, if there's sand, I'm making sand angels, if there was mud, I'd make mud angels.
Yeah, I love it. I know this is true. This is what I love about being friends with you, is your spontaneity and really the ability that you've had to, like, either whether it was heal it or hold on to it, but have a very highly activated, innocent heart. Like, and that's because you're not attaching to the suffering. You're going, okay, bad shit happened. We're gonna keep on moving on. And it's beautiful. On the next page, which I was gonna touch on, and it's got to do also with that law of oneness, that, somebody does you wrong, quote unquote,
Mhm.
or there's an abuse or an offense. um it, sure, in the moment you're not going to be able to, like, remember, like, oh, okay, this person is huge, like, you're not going to be able to basically talk yourself out of the anger that you may need to go through and feel. Once you get through all the feelings, because that's actually how you heal it, then forgiveness is possible, because then you're able to look and go, okay, this person transgressed because they knew not what they were doing, for one, because they're in their own realm of suffering and their own trauma addiction. And then B, some of them just don't even have the tools. And so it starts, and then you learn their story, and it starts to develop compassion. And compassion creates understanding, and understanding and compassion creates forgiveness. And that is how you heal the heart of any past transgression, to get to the innocence and the play and the freedom that comes from that. True?
True.
Yeah,
And just think about too, we just did some more heart healing, so you gotta imagine how much more of a kid I'm gonna be.
I know. I was like, yeah. Yeah. Sonia just had a quantum session for her inner child this past Tuesday, and it was beautiful. Like, thank you for entrusting me with that. I always feel honored when I work with people, because it's like a very vulnerable experience, and I feel it's a sacred honor to me to be
Yeah.
welcomed into that, the space that most people don't see.
Yeah.
never get to see, right?
That one was a very interesting session, especially like
Yeah.
because I know like I could feel like I embark like when I'm like that child, I could feel like the hands going like that. It was just like
You're talking about it, so keep going.
yeah. So it was just like you could see each time when I was the different ages as I was at, like it
You rewatched it?
no, I
You
felt
just
it.
remember. Yeah.
I
Okay. Cool.
remember I felt it and I'm like, I haven't rewatched it yet because I'm still kind of going through from the first part of everything.
No, 2 days.
Um yeah, but no, it was just like it was really neat because I could feel like that was just moving like I was 8 and I
Yes. And
sounded
you like wiped your eyes like an 8-year-old would wipe their eyes, and I was like, oh, hi, honey. Like
oh
it was very precious to me. I was like, oh, yeah. So beautiful experience. And you did a lot of, and this is why I do what I do. This is because, and sometimes it's unexplainable. And my initial mission in life was like, okay, I'll go be a therapist. I'll go to school to become a psychologist and all of that. And I did. I got my associates in that industry. But what I found was my own journey was quite non-conventional as far as my healing, and that those who have journeyed very similarly to me need more non-conventional, out of the box, out of the system ways
yeah,
to heal. Because what I offer is like literally deep, deep, permanent healing. Like it's rapid. Like
yeah.
you had that session and it's like boom, X, Y, and Z is already shifted and activated in you. So
Mhm.
anyway, back to the book. I will say after talking about Green Tara, I actually think she was my second, and then White Buffalo, because I read that last year. And I remember now as we're reading about like different parts of what she invited
The
us to.
forgiveness, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I really loved what she offered. I do recommend anybody who's reading it to have the audio and the physical book.
Yep.
Because last year when I read it, I only had the audio. And so I was like, nope, I need the physical book. So I ordered the physical, and that activated just a different layer, for
That
sure.
that's mostly how just I that's how I read, period.
Mm-hmm.
So I read with the audio, I have the book, I underline in the book, and
Yep.
then after I've gone through the book, then I'll go back and then I'll go under all my underlines and highlight it so then I can again just really attempt to reabsorb.
So, and I like that. So I'm going to move to the next question. Which tool or code or what you've gathered from this do you intend to implement in your life?
Well, I think we already got to that. I was like, I've already been doing the
The old
umtada.
school. Okay.
Yeah, for
I'm
sure.
actually going to re-implement that because I felt the vibration of the shift each time that I did it. So thank you. Is there anything you actually didn't like from the book?
How it ended.
Oh, okay. Ditto. I had this.
Okay.
I was like, wait, what? Why are
All right, bye.
we done? And then I've like looked for book two because she has talked about doing a book two, and I'm like, that's about the only thing I've been like, what the crap, man? I want book two already. It's been 4 years, lady. Get your shit together. No, I'm just kidding. I love you,
Oh,
Kaia Ra.
that's funny. Yeah,
But
no, I was just like, really? That's like what happens? Like, it's like you get all this and then it's like boom.
yeah. Okay, I guess we're done now. Yeah.
Okay. It's like
Yeah.
taking the plate in the middle of the dinner?
Yes.
Oh, okay, I'm done. Thanks.
I
Guess you
guess
told me.
I guess we're done now.
Yeah. Like,
Okay, so I was just looking at another question. Um, did you like the author's style of writing?
it was different. I mean, I did not like it.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, it
Yeah.
was different. So
I I enjoyed it because mm, I don't know. I feel like, well, did I skim some? I feel like there were some parts where I was like, okay, I'm done with that detail. But that's how I am with movies and books anyway. If it's too wordy, which she wasn't, but in some of the like what do you
Some
call it?
other parts, yeah.
Yeah.
I would actually have the audio go faster, certain parts, 'cause
Okay.
it kinda, like,
I
went a
got
little extra.
Okay. So you agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, okay, I can just fast forward or skip that part.
Mhm.
Okay. Anything else you want to talk about with the book? Let's go to let's go to Mary since we talked about Mary.
Really? Which one?
Mother Mary to start.
Okay. I
Yeah.
was gonna laugh because I had it open to Mary Magdalene.
Oh, I actually opened to Mary Magdalene too.
Oh,
Okay, so I
okay.
guess that's
Are
one we're
you
gonna
on 209? If you're on 209, I'm gonna pee myself.
I'm
Shut
not even
up.
exaggerating. I'm on 209. Okay, so apparently there's a message for
Holy
us
crap.
on 209. Okay,
Like, my hairs are standing up now.
that's awesome.
Like,
Do you have anything underlined on that page, Eva?
uh, yeah, I do. I have my dragon staff devours the toxicity of negative thinking that arises in your struggle to trust divine love.
Okay, where the heck? Oh, I found it.
That's on 209.
So yeah,
Um,
so it's in the fourth paragraph down. My
yeah.
dragon staff devours the toxicity of negativity, a negative thinking that arises in your struggle to trust divine love. Okay. So what I'm getting told, so I connected you with your dragon yet? We should
Huh?
do. Oh, okay. So everybody has a dragon. And
Other than the one on my back?
yeah, like an actual dragon. Okay, so fun fact about dragons, they are a 4D creature being. So we live in the 3D, and then like angels, et cetera, and like 5, 6, 7, and so on Ds. 4D is they are the bridge between the dimensions, meaning they actually do have more density than angels, so we can actually connect with them more because they technically are our mission at emissaries. Is that the right word? Yeah, they're saying mission, like they go on missions for us. Or like if
Mm.
you're facing a challenge, you can ask your dragon to like blow away anything that is no longer serving your highest good. It's really cool.
Can I
So,
name him Valcor?
huh?
I said, "Can I name him
It
Valcor?"
was probably Falcor. So you actually could do I'm just asking, should I do this now or hold on? I'm being told that I actually should probably do like a dragon class or something and activate people into their dragon just as a freebie in the group. So that way more people who want connection with their dragon can. I use my dragon all the time. Her name is Muffy Stuck, and she is a very big
Like a
blue and
Jewish
purple
dragon?
muff.
Mephisto.
I don't know if that's
Mazel
true.
tov!
Hold on.
And then you
uh,
said she's blue? Like,
yeah,
that's what I'm, like, thinking, like, she's a
she's
Hebrew.
blue and purple and very big wings, shimmery, blows blue smoke that is actually fire, so it could be iced out
Ooh.
or burnt out. And it was crazy. So when I did this, when I met her, this was in 2020. In May of 2020, I did like a deep meditation, and all of a sudden she was literally in front of me, and I was like, "Nope, that's too freaky." And I like blinked and I like made it go away. But she was massive. And so I play with my dragon all the time, and I have a bunch of friends who have their dragons. Anybody who hangs out with me has an actual
Why
dragon. I
why
know.
is this the first time we've talked about this? I've shown you my back.
I don't know how this happened. 209. That's why. Because you were like, I need to know about your dragon's like, can you please tell her about me?
Aw.
Valcor is probably his name. So all you do is just closing your eyes and just ask, like, hand on heart, because he's already there. So
Mhm.
obviously he's a male. Ask if his name is Valcor and then what he looks like. Like what color is he? What element does he play in? Mine is fire and water.
I just keep thinking of and I went to Valcor because from the Neverending Story.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like, Valcor Atreyu! It took me a minute to even remember his name because, like, I couldn't remember, like, was it
So
Atreyu?
yeah, just do a meditation later, or you don't even have to meditate. You can just sit with your heart and just ask. All it takes is just the willingness to surrender the mind, because the mind is like, no, dragons are just fake and they're not real because TV
They're
tells
real.
us. But they're
I know they're but that's just cool because like it's just now been more so.
Yeah. So she even talks about my dragon staff. So she has an actual staff that devours the toxicity of people struggling to trust the divine love. I like that you brought us to that. Thank you.
Well, actually, we brought us to that
We did,
because we did this was together because we both ended up on the same page.
which
So
is
if we didn't end up to this, it's like it's a we me. How about that?
Witty. I like it. I like it. Okay, just a little bit above. The dragon's eyes glitter as living sapphires that reflect into my own. Riveted by the dragon's staff, I widely smile. The angel of faith joyfully laughs in return, delighted by my intrigue. She leans the staff forward so that I may study the dragon's eyes closer. Animated by my focus, the two dragons spark to life and turn to face each of my eyes. So I feel like the reason I was being guided to read that is just to give more of that confirmation of anchoring in that this doesn't have to be hard. You can connect to them a lot easier. And you could even physically see your dragon if you wanted to. And some people have more dragons than one.
Ooh. So the other one I have outlined, which is really just goes along with what you
Okay.
just said, last sentence on here. You can call on me at any time
Yes,
to
you can.
amplify the golden sunlight of your faith. I am always with you. So
That's
that's the other thing that I had underlined. So it just all
really cool.
goes
Yeah.
together.
Yes. Beautiful. Okay. Well, hello there, Mary Magdalene.
Right?
Okay, so I actually do want to go to Mother Mary because before we're gonna wrap up because I do want to kind of just touch into our next book
Okay.
and what I'm excited for, hopeful for, and so on. Because I've never read it, so I don't. It's just as much a mystery to me as it is for everyone else who's joining us. So
What drew you to that one?
um, the Mary Magdalene in this.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, because I was like, I want more of Mary Magdalene. I was like, how do we get more? And so this is what came up, and I was like, yes, this is the one. And so one of my ascended masters, I work with two ascended masters. Well, technically three, but so Astria is one, Aset, which is actually Isis's real name, and
Mm.
then Hecate. So those are my three that I work directly with. But I channel Astria the most, and then Aset and Hecate are like subcategories, support systems. So Astria she's the ancient Atlantean wise woman, but also was a goddess of that time and was one of the last ones to leave as the Atlantis went under.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So,
Was that sad for
and-
her?
huh?
Was that sad for her?
Um, no, no, it was sad for everybody else. She knew what was already to come because the greed of the hearts of man had already, she was, above, she was already ascended master at that point, guiding the way. So it wasn't a sadness. It was just um, she was just like a passage way for other people's
Mm.
sadness and grief to be processed. And she also helped people portal off of Atlantis into different.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so she was in a very big leadership that not that she didn't feel, but it was also like she felt but didn't have time to play in drama. There was no.
Right. No, I just felt like just a lot of sadness, so that's what I
Oh,
was asking.
you were picking up on Atlantis. There was immense amounts of sadness going on during that.
Mm.
So, I mean, they were losing their entire society, like gone, that they had built and had risen to great power, but the power had been corrupted. So it had to fall and come down. Okay. So I'm on page 178.
Yeah,
That's
me too.
no, you're not.
I
Whatever. This is so trippy. Because there's like how many other pages? There's at least 10 other pages before this part of the chapter of the book. That's amazing. Okay, what's here for us? Destiny is a promise you made to yourself. I am now in ceremony, free from the constructs of space and time. Oh, okay, the quantum, where instantaneous healing and divine knowing exists. So I think that's why is to bring people, whoever is watching this, like more awareness to the quantum. What else? Do you have anything underlined on this
I
page?
have well, so what I have underlined is I feel the potential of her pearls of wisdom and how this is the last sentence on there. How she desires to adorn me with every one of them. But then I have written on the side, I have feel the same as in my hypno session. So I'm trying to figure out like what was it that I felt the same as a hypno session. So
Well, you felt her. That was her,
feel it, huh.
wasn't it?
It was, but it wasn't over. It wasn't. I didn't realize it was her. Oh, so I was getting okay. So when I was reading 178, I was getting that feeling like that was her. And then what happened here on 79 is when it finally it
Okay, that's
solidified.
mm-hmm.
And then when it went to angelic wings, my Mother Mary and her feet and feel her confident arms hugging me
Mm-hmm.
in a heavenly love and laughter. And I was just like, that was her. That all these sessions that I've ever had and of having, because I didn't really have that like mother
Mm-hmm.
in the human sense of things this lifetime, but I have her
The whole
as
time. The
yeah.
whole time. So I love that you brought that in because I'm just also now realizing. So I through a lot of my adult trials, I didn't have my mom most of my adult life. She's not been available because she's on her own journey. And my I would go and sit in, I would call her Heavenly Mother's lap. I would sit there, be held by her. Her wings would hold me. She would just stroke my face, play with my hair. Um, and I'm just literally now realizing I think it was Mother Mary the whole time for me as well.
Yep.
And actually, anytime I'm having like mom grief of like grieving that I didn't get the mom that I was hoping for, etc.
Yep.
But I'm grateful for nonetheless. I go to her. I go to Mother Mary and I'll sit at her feet and just lay my head on her lap and wow, this is cool.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes. And I'm just remembering some other things too
okay.
from a couple of months ago with you and I.
Okay, cool. Yeah, yes. Oh,
Head
yes.
on lap.
Like, yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So just to give just well, um Sonia and I were at a retreat and I was processing mom grief and I had my head on Sonia's lap and she was rubbing my head. Oh, thank you for physically embodying Mother Mary for me. Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
Oh, I'm
I
gonna
need
cry.
I know. It's beautiful. Thank
Oh, everybody's gonna watch this and be like, "What is up with you two?"
I love it. No, they're gonna want to come hang out. That's the thing. Y'all are missing
Oh,
out not being here
this
live.
is perfect. This was perfect, honestly. This yeah.
I divinely aligned. It is as it is. Okay, so I feel like that wraps up the book. If we want to talk about anything else, we can.
The
We've been
last I would say the last part of the book I thought was so dope um where they intertwined everything and then they intertwined it all into the chakras.
mm, mm. What page are you? Oh, yes, yeah. 336, 337. Uh-huh. Yeah.
And I
I
was just like,
I
"Oh,
actually think
dang."
I want to integrate that into my morning routine as well. Not every day, but like maybe go in intuitively and be like, okay, where am I blocked in my chakras, right? In my energies. In human
Mhm.
design, chakras are the center. So is it like your head, your ajna, throat, the G, and so on, and then go to here in the book and say, okay, I'm going to activate. I invoke Mother Mary's blessing and overlighting support as I now accept the heart womb chakra of my golden dragon light body to interface with my human heart chakra. And that's the activating sovereignty of my heart. So, yeah, I really thank you. I also like that.
Yeah.
Play.
'Cause I was when I was doing my breath work this morning, I
Mm,
was just like, other than that, because like I said, when I do the Om, like I do the Om Tada Tum Tada, I also, after I read that part, I was like, oh, cool. So when I'm going and I can feel like I'm holding in the breath and I can
yeah.
feel like the movement, and I'm just like, okay, this is where it's hitting. It's Isis, Hawthorne,
Mhm.
Green Tarda,
Oh, I like that.
and just feeling all the way up,
Thank
Mother
you.
Mary, Magdalene, Qu- Qu-
And
Qu- Quinion, whatever, Quian, White Buffalo, and and Sophia Dragon. Like it was just like, it's just like, wow, now I finally know what all those chakras are, or whatever centers, or whatever anybody wants to call it.
thank
It is
you
what it
for
is.
bringing that consciousness and alignment, because I wasn't, I, I don't know, I just didn't think of it even. So you've like activated in me. I'm like, holy crap, you just like bridged for me. Thank you. And this is why I love book clubs, because it's like, seriously, I can read it on my own and I'm going to gain what I gain. But when we interact and we talk about like what was in your consciousness, what did you see from your point of view? I just gained all of these, and ditto, like vice versa. It was like, whoa, like the dragon thing. It's really, really cool. That's, we are interdependent beings. We are meant to be transpersonal, like interacting. And in human design, there are actually some people who are not transpersonal, but that doesn't mean they live without people. Like my daughter, she's a 2-4 in human design, which is a hermit networker, right? And I know
Oh,
human design, but hermit networker is like a walking contradiction. They're
yeah. I'm like, what? How does that work?
She's a hermit social butterfly, a hermiting social butterfly. They're
Oh,
amazing. I have 3 children that are 2-4s, and they all move differently energetically in their life. However, I'm knowing like when they basically how it works is they're extroverted introverts or introverted extroverts. There we go. So they have to be with themselves. They'll go into a hermit, but then they have to go be with people. Like in order to really live their lives, they get to connect others. So
I'm like that sometimes too, though. I'm like, I like to be by myself, and then I like to be with others.
yeah, I'm an
So,
extroverted introvert. So I love being with people, but I have to go be by myself and like not people
right.
to recharge. So yeah, you're probably very similar in that way. I don't, do you remember your profile in human design? I know you're a
1-3.
you're a 1-3.
I'm a 1-3.
Yeah, so you're the investigator, which makes sense as to why you're like loving the reading and the listening, because like investigators, we study hard and we love it. We like thrive off of it. And then 3, you're an experimenter. So you go like, you're basically like a scientist. You study and then you go experiment with what you've learned. And then you go tell people like, do this. No, don't do that. Do this. Don't do because you are a walking, like, you walk the talk.
Yeah,
Like, and you,
that's true. I do. Oh, like I
that
got
is,
my cold ones. I do all this other stuff. I do my
yeah.
breath work. I do,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
And that's
fun.
because you've walked the path of not doing it and then finding the value of actually doing it, experimenting. So, anywho, okay, I want to talk about the Magdalene manuscript
Yes.
before we off. Come on, background. There we go. This is what it looks like. You can get it off of Amazon. It is not available in audio. I don't know if you know that. We've
No, I
looked.
do. I already looked.
I know we all looked hard. Me and Cindy, we're all like, oh, okay. However, so it's the alchemies. So alchemies, for anybody who doesn't understand or know, is like the changing or ability to take something that is, I wouldn't say dark, but like suffering and pain and turning it into light and love and something that's going to heal. That's what alchemy is. So the alchemies of Horus and the sex magic of Isis or Aset. And I'm just
Oh,
going to read the back. Mary Magdalene's personal story of her tantric relationship with Yeshua, which is Jesus. Yeah, I know.
well, I opened up the book to 140. I'm like, tantric yoga. I'm like,
Oh,
whoa.
yeah. Hold on. I
Hello.
was 140 myself now. Um, yeah, it's an ancient system of personal transformation that uses sexual energies to develop spiritual illumination. Okay, I don't want this to freak people out because I'm knowing people are like, oh my gosh, I heard the word sex, la 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 la. And then other people are like, ooh, okay, I'm intrigued. So either way, there is going to be magic happening in this. So I think one of the reasons why I really picked it is because, mm, do I want to say? Yes, I do. So we use sex magic, my husband and I, in order to manifest anything. What did you do? What?
Oh shit. This person in the back,
Yeah.
Tom Keenan, was
Okay.
just told me
Was just what?
that somebody just told me about this person
Really?
today. Yes, that's why I'm like, what? How? What's the
Okay.
like? Yeah, that's
That's
sorry. I'm like,
alignment. Okay, wait, where are you seeing his
oh,
picture?
not his picture, just in the back. It just says his name, and like I was just told that name, so
That's really
I was like,
This is
what the?
I love witnessing you because you have those happen all the time.
Oh, it's by him.
Yeah,
Sorry, I'm slow.
you're good. All right. Let's see. As I was saying, I've used sex magic to manifest like anything because there's so much potent power in I mean, think about it. Our wombs are literally portals from one dimension to this one. There is a lot of power that many people, mostly because of religious constructs, are not tapping into. And also because if you look at all of the media, sex is it's not actual magic. It's been basically a light principle has been flipped on its head and now made quote unquote dirty or wrong or bad. Like it's been very moralistically judged. And if we can get beyond that and really go, whoa, sex magic, like I'm here for this, to use it as a tool that it's meant to be, people will actually have more healed relationships than relationships where they're essentially prostituting themselves for love. And what I mean by that is like if I hold on, what's happening?
I'm happening.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm on my call.
What call?
My QBC. You say hi, Sonia.
Hey, Sonia.
Hi.
I mean, oh, perfect timing. Now I lost the thought, so I'm just going to read the back. So a love so deep it has survived over 2,000 years of lies to be finally told now. So you got to think the relationship of Jesus and Mary was buried because they didn't want people to believe that his descendancy went on. Like, the religious constructs want it to be like, nope, it ended here. Or that he was even human in any way, which he was. To be finally told now in this, the beginning of the ending of time, a high initiate of the temple of Isis, Mary Magdalene was the Holy Grail, the cup that carried the blood of Christ. Okay, so this is going to rub people like all sorts of, all of the belief systems are going to get shook up in this.
I'm excited.
And the long prophesied son, Sun, was born to her, was a girl named Sada. In the Magdalene manuscript given by her and reprinted here, word for word as she gave it, she describes the alchemy that she and Yeshua practiced. That was the magic, right? This is the alchemy that prepared him to sustain life after death. This is why I chose this book, is because what I read on the back. So that, huh?
I'm like, damn.
I know, it's taken on the whole religious construct. Anyway, it's okay. So that he could meet his destiny and lay a trail of light through the death realms, a light path each of us can follow. This is her story, revealing some of the deepest secrets of the temples as requested by Isis. To this remarkable text, Tom Kenyon has added a comparison of the major streams of internal alchemy, plus an in-depth look at Egyptian high alchemy, and a clarification of the alchemies of Horus. Judy Sion, at the request of Mary Magdalene, has added one woman's story, which is every woman's story. And then it goes to give a quote, the truth unveiled. For those who have eyes to see, let them see. For those who have ears to hear, let them listen. For those who have neither, let them pass on. So what that's saying is this book has arrived at our doorstep because our eyes are ready and our ears are. And if you're not in this, it's all good. Like, move along. Don't, that's what it's saying. But this is an invitation to explore a new viewpoint on Jesus and Mary. So, Magdalene. Cool, huh?
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm like super excited now, even like I
Uh-huh.
didn't read the back of the book. I've just like I got the book, it's been on my table, and like just now, just you going into that, I was like, whoa, like I want to start reading it now.
There's like a lot. Well, we can totally start. So we start now, and then the book club next meeting is like, I really had it ready in my brain and now it's gone.
February 15th.
Is it for sure?
That's what you said earlier.
Let me double check. Book club.
I wrote it down.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
first you said 14th, and then you said
February
no, 15th.
15th. Yeah, it couldn't. I remember it not being able to be on the 14th because that's Valentine's and people will probably be out that night. So the 15th, we'll do it the day after. And if we need to move it, we can move it. Anywho, thank you so much for being on, Sonia. It's been a pleasure and a joy to like talk about the Sophia Code. And yes, I'm very excited for this book. Anybody who does want to join the QBC, the Quantum Book Club, it is only $11 a month. And so I highly recommend you come play with us. Obviously, you've had the experience here, witnessing what it's like. And we've had book club months where there are multiple people and sometimes it's one. It really is up to you. But I definitely invite you to come play. So anything else you want to add before we go? Okay.
No.
Love you. Thanks,
I
Hen.
love you too. Bye.
Bye, guys.